Monty McAlpine, the extra hitter, digs in for Seattle. Here in the top of the first inning at Salt River Fields out in Scottsdale. Russell Fuse, next pitch. Breaking ball that stayed high and inside, and it's 1-1. Russell Few, the right-hander, on the mound for North Texas. It's the North Texas Oilers at 0-3 against the visiting Seattle Naranjeros, who are 3-0. Naranjeros stands for Orange Growers. They're in the uniforms that resemble the Baltimore Orioles, and the powder blue for North Texas, the Oilers. The next pitch, breaking ball that hit him in the back, and McAlpine on board at first base, hit by a pitch. Defensively for North Texas, in the outfield left to right, Clark, Rosebeck, and Saffel. The infield third to first, Eberton, Petty, Olivas, and Holmes. Gonzalez is the catcher. So McAlpine, an extra hitter, aboard at first. Here's Vic G from the right side with McAlpine on at first base. Temperature 85 degrees here out on the east side of Scottsdale this afternoon at Salt River Fields, the home spring ballpark of the Colorado Rockies and the Diamondbacks of Arizona. And the runner takes off. It's a ball low and outside. The throw to second by Gonzalez. Not in time. McAlpine steals second base. So Seattle in business here in the top of the first inning as McAlpine, who was hit by a pitch, steals second base. And it's 1-0 on Vic G, an extra hitter. 55 and over Cactus Division. Runner at second, nobody out. Top of the first inning. The 1-0 pitch to G. Swung on line into right field for a base hit. Saffel plays it in a couple hops. They're waving the runner on third, McAlpine, and he will make it easily to make it 1-0 in favor of Seattle here in the top of the first inning. So an RBI single by G going the opposite way, and it's 1-0 Seattle here in the top of the first inning. So Seattle trying to run their record to 3-0 on North Texas. They've had trouble getting in runs. They are 0-3. So G at first. Here's the third baseman, Jeff Austin, from the left side. And Few, a quick toss to first base. And back standing is G, the runner at first base. 3:45 down the lines here at Salt River Fields. 4:10 to straightaway center field. 3:90 to the power alleys. 1-0 top of the first inning. Seattle leads. Nobody out. Runner at first. Runner takes off, ball low and inside. Gonzalez's throw to second base gets past the shortstop Petty, and it's on into center field, but not far enough for G to advance to third. The second stolen base in the inning. So G at second base, potentially the second run here in the top of the first inning for Seattle. Nobody out. And Austin with an opportunity to knock in a run as the count is 1-0. Few would check at second. The second pitch, changeup missed low and outside. It's 2-0 on G. It'll be followed by the third baseman, Jeff Austin. Then second baseman, Steve Koenig, hitting in the 3 spot. Check at second, and spinning and not throwing is Few, the pitcher for North Texas. G is back without a throw at second. The 2-0 pitch, and this hits him inside, a changeup, and Austin aboard at first, the second hit batsman in the inning. So Seattle runners at first and second, a run in here in the top of the first for the Naranjeros. Got to get used to pronouncing that. And nobody out. Here's Steve Koenig, the second baseman, hitting in the 3 spot. So Seattle with some offensive fireworks here in this first inning. In fact, digging in from the left side will be Ron Scruggs, the first baseman. So with this, the batting order and the defense, a lot of substitutions here and there. Got to make sure that the runner at second or at first base is Austin. So a lot of extra hitters popping in and out as far as defensive changes. So this is Scruggs. That one hits him. He's aboard and the bases are loaded. 3 hit batsmen in the inning. So a golden opportunity for Seattle. So Mitch Tibbetts, the center fielder, batting in the 5-spot, will come up with the bases loaded. And with these, sometimes the substitutions with the batting order as far as in the defense, some changes here and there. So we'll double check. Konek is the runner at third base. He was the one hit by the pitch. And we're going to have a brand new pitcher in as Few started off a little bit rusty, hitting 3 batters here in the first inning. Who is it? Craig Holmes is the manager for North Texas. We've got an interview with him, and brand new pitcher is on for North Texas, Dan Fisherbaugh.
I'm the manager.
Go.
My name's Craig Holmes. I'm the manager of the 55-plus Oilers, North Texas Oilers. We're out of the Dallas DFW area. A lot of the guys that we play with week in and week out, half of our team is original Oilers. And then we've got a couple guys that are all-star Msbl guys out in Texas, and picked up a couple new players, first-timers here from Arizona and California. So we're just excited to be here, having fun, learning one another, kind of a guys' trip, and we get to play competitive baseball. So we're having a blast.
Let's go back in time a little bit. When you first was introduced to baseball, what was it back in your childhood that makes you play the game today, or what was it about baseball that you've stuck with it all these years?
A couple of things. First and foremost, it's just teamwork and being part of a team, and working together as a group to achieve a common goal. More importantly, I think the thing that attracted me to baseball is that you don't hide players. Everybody's got to be able to hit, run, catch, and throw. And so, whether you're a 4-tooler or a 5-tooler, as they say in baseball, you've got to be able to have that skill set. It's a little different than other team sports, so that was one of the things that attracted me. And then, moving forward, it keeps us young. It keeps our minds young. It keeps our...
First pitch from Dan Fisherbaugh, who's in the ball game now, and running at third base is Jeff Austin. So it's apparent that G did not hit in that first inning. He was an extra hitter. So Austin at third, Konek at second, Scruggs at first, and the batter is Mitch Tibbetts. Top of the first inning, Seattle trying to add to a 1-0 lead with the bases loaded, nobody out. Fisherbaugh's next pitch, changeup missed high and tight, and it's 2-0. So McAlpine led off, hit by a pitch, stole second. He scored in a single to right by Jeff Austin. Bases loaded and a big swing and a miss. And it's 2-1 on Tibbetts. So 3 hit batsmen in the inning for Few, and he is finished as Fisherbaugh on in relief for North Texas. Next pitch, breaking ball low and outside, and it's 3-1. Three and one on Tibbetts. Here's the next pitch. A strike on the inside corner. It's 3-2. In fact, a delayed call when Tibbetts is down on strikes looking. So Fisherbaugh strikes out the first batter he faces. There's 2 down here in the top of the first inning. First pitch to Mark Cervisi, another extra hitter. With the bases loaded and 2 down, 1-0 Seattle, top of the first inning. The 0-1 pitch, changeup that drops high, and it's 1-1. So Few did not retire a batter. In fact, there is 1 out here in the top of the first inning for Seattle. The bases are loaded, and they lead it 1-0. 1-1 pitch, fastball high and outside, and it's 2-1. No place to put Cervisi. That one low and inside, and it's 3-1. So North Texas 0-3, having some issues getting the ball across the plate. Again, the bases loaded for Seattle here in the top of the first. One out. They have the bases loaded, and this popped up foul straight back, and it's 3-2. Fisherbaugh trying to work out of a jam here, and this swung on and popped up behind home plate. Gonzalez, the catcher, under it, unable to make the catch. There's 2 strikes. So Vic G did not hit in that first inning. It was a single by Jeff Austin. The extra hitters not always coming up in order, and defensive changes throughout the ball game at times, so we'll try to keep our eyes on those. Bases loaded, 1 out. The payoff pitch swung and wrapped towards right field. Saffel backing up. It's over his head. This is going to be extra bases all the way to the wall. Austin scoring from third. Rounding second is Konek. He will come in. Waving around third is Scruggs. He will score. It's a bases clearing triple for Cervisi. It's 4-0 Seattle here in the top of the first with just 1 out. 3 RBIs for Cervisi, and he's at third base with a 3-run triple. So Doug Harris digs in from the right side with Cervisi at third base with the bases clearing triple, 1 down. Top of the first, 4-0 Seattle, and that fastball downstairs to Harris, an extra hitter. Seattle trying to run their record to 4-0 and off to a good start here in the top of the first inning, leading 4-0 with 1 out. And a breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 1-1 on Harris. Check that 0-2 on Harris. They play him pretty much straight away in the outfield. Cervisi at third with 1 out. The 2-strike pitch swung and wrapped into center field. It is going to fall for a base hit as Rosebeck had to play it on 1 hop, and it's 5-0 Seattle here in the top of the first. A run-scoring single by Harris. Cervisi scoring from third. Harris aboard at first with a run-scoring single. Jeff Naranjo, an extra hitter, comes to the plate and takes high and outside, and it's 1-0. So Paul Otto, a left fielder, scheduled also in that spot, but he will not hit. The bluff move to first by Fisherbaugh, but Harris not taking off. Already 2 stolen bases in the inning for Seattle. Change up in for a strike, and it's 1-1. Not a cloud in the sky, and it's 85 degrees here, right around 1:40 Mountain Time. Runner at first with 1 out, and a quick toss to first by Fisherbaugh. Holmes holding runner at first base is Doug Harris. 5 runs in here in the top of the first inning for Seattle. They lead it 5-0. 1 down. Harris at first, and that another hit batsman and runners at first and second. So 4 hit batsmen in the inning for North Texas. Brad Hoban, an extra hitter, comes to the plate with runners at first and second, and just 1 out and a big swing and a miss. 5 runs in for Seattle in the top of the first. They lead it 5-0 with just 1 down. Harris at second, Naranjo at first. The 0-1 pitch low and outside, grabbed by Gonzalez, and it's 1-1. Few pitched to 4 batters in this first inning, hit 3 of them, so there was a pitching change early on for North Texas. The 1-1 pitch to Hoban, low and outside, and it's 2-1. Fisher ball from the stretch, the 2-1 pitch, low and outside, 3-1. Harris at second, Naranjo at first with just 1 down here in the top of the first. For Seattle, they lead it 5-0. Fisher ball is 3-1 pitch, swung and hit on the ground towards short. Petty going to have to wait on it, goes to second for 1, and that's all they will get. Hoban aboard on a fielder's choice, there's 2 down. Scott Sadler, the right fielder, hitting a 9 spot, will come up with runners at first and third. 5 runs in here in the top of the first inning for Seattle, 2 down. Harris, who singled, is at third base. Hoban at first. And Sadler, the right fielder, will come up against Fisherbaugh here in the top of the first with 2 outs. Pitcher was shaken up for a moment. The starting pitcher? Russell Few, maybe that's why he was out, a bad ankle. The runner from first bluffs a move towards second. Now Fisherbaugh looks at first, does not throw. Two down, runners at first and third. The pitch, fastball down the middle for a strike. 0-1 on Sadler, the right fielder for Seattle. The next pitch way outside, and it's 1-1 on Sadler. Harris at third base represents that 6th run, that high and outside ball, too. Fisherbaugh from the stretch, the 2-1 pitch. Low and inside, 3-1 on Sadler. So runners at the corners with 2 down here in the top of the first inning. Seattle leading 5-0 over North Texas. The 3-1 pitch swung a little looper foul outside of third. It's 3-2. The runner runner at first base will be running with this pitch. The payoff pitch swung and missed, strike 3, and that ends the inning. Sadler down on strikes, but Seattle picks up 5 runs in the top of the first inning. They do it on 2 base hits, no errors. There was 2 stranded. We head to the bottom of the first inning as Seattle leading North Texas by a score of 5-0. North Texas, the Oilers 0-3 come to bat in the bottom of the first inning, trailing Seattle 5-0. Left-hander Jess Sanders on the mound, and first pitch to Rosebeck, a good fastball, but missed a little bit low to the North Texas center fielder. Defensively behind Sanders in the outfield left to right, Otto, Tibbetts, and Sadler. The 1-0 pitch high and inside, and it's 2-0 on Rosebeck, the center fielder for the Oilers. Infield from third to first for Seattle, Austin, Friedlander, Koenig, and Scruggs at first. Padilla's the catcher, and the 2-0 pitch. Strike on the inside corner. It's 2-1 on Rosebeck. Be followed by Olivas and Eberton here in the bottom of the first inning for North Texas. Sanders working quickly. The 2-1 pitch. Rosebeck takes a little bit low and outside. It's 3-1. North Texas has had some trouble offensively getting the bats going in this tournament so far. They are 0-3 in this 55-plus Cactus division. The 3-1 pitch, that swung on and missed, and it's 3-2 on Rosebeck. Seattle getting 5 in the top of the first. They sent 10 men to the plate. There were 4 hit batsmen. Sanders' payoff pitch, high and tight back to Moy, and Rosebeck aboard with a base on balls here to lead off the bottom of the first inning for North Texas. They are out of Fort Worth. So North Texas trying to get their first win in this tournament. Here's the second baseman, Kiki Olivas. With nobody out, and Rosebeck, the runner at first base. Held down by Scruggs at first, and Sanders a courtesy toss to first, and Rosebeck back standing.
Eric, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Craig Holmes for setting up today's broadcast and getting a chance to see his Oilers play. They've got a really nice uniform. They've got, I think, one of the better logos I've seen out here at the MSBL, and it's kind of cool when they take the time and the pride to make their own nicknames and uniforms. Kind of refreshing.
1-0 pitch is fouled back, and it's 1-1 on Olivas, to be followed by George Eberton.
And I know the guys were excited to play here today. I don't know if you're going to find a better spring training facility in Arizona or in Florida. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, the thing with Florida, which is nice, but it gets muggy and a lot of rainouts down there. Runner at first base, the 1-1 pitch, swung and missed, 1-2, and a quick toss to first by Padilla, and Scruggs applying the tag, but Rosebeck is back. Well, you like this ballpark, you like Goodyear. What other one? It's Sloan, which is down Mesa, which houses the Cubs.
I still like Hohokam.
Oh, yeah. That's the A's still?
Yep. The old over there off Brown.
The runner goes. This tapped up the third base side. Sanders, the pitcher, is going to have it. His only play is the first base, and in time a good stretch by Scruggs. And advancing to second with one down now as Rosebeck and Olivas retired 1-3. There's one down here in the bottom of the first for North Texas. They trail it 5-0.
Well, I think the key to that play was the composure of the Seattle pitcher. He never really rushed it. It ended up being a bang-bang play, but at least he didn't throw it down the line. That was a good play.
Eberton hitting in the third spot, the third baseman, with one down, an opportunity to knock in a run with Rosebeck at second. He walked the first pitch. That one swung and lined into left field. Having to play it on one hop is Otto, and holding up at third base is Rosebeck. Runners at first and third for North Texas with one down here in the bottom of the first. Eberton hitting that first pitch. A lot of people taking that first pitch, but nice you don't get behind on the count. A lot of times they're going to try to throw one down the middle to you to get ahead of you. Craig Holmes, you mentioned, the manager, coming up now hitting cleanup, and he's the first baseman with runners at first and third, one out for North Texas. You had a little interview with him.
Yeah, pleasant guy to talk to, and I know he's having a lot of fun. He'd like to see a few more wins up there on the standings, but he says we're having a good time. They've just had a lot of injuries, and they're going to have to play through it. That's part of this 6 games in 4 days. It's kind of a test of endurance.
First pitch is strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Runners at first and third, one down. Lefty on lefty, the 0-1 pitch swung and popped up shallow center field. Tibbetts playing that high sky and unable to make the catch just in air. He dropped the ball, and scoring from third base is Rosebeck. It's 5-1 Seattle, and the Oilers on the board in the bottom of the first inning. This Arizona sky, which not a cloud in the sky, is difficult even for the major leaguers. Looking into that sun, it's hard to find that ball. So even the major leaguers have trouble with it.
Eric, would you give him a sac fly? Because that ball, I think, would have been deep enough to score that runner from third.
That's very observant. I would. Do they do that in the majors? That would that actually
sure.
be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it was on the infield, they wouldn't have done it, or
right.
Shallow right. But
so a sac fly in this first pitch, low in the dirt, dug out by Padilla to Vic Saffel, the right fielder. So Holmes on at first base. Eberton at second. A run in here in the bottom of the first for the Oilers. They trail at 5-1. There's one out. Sanders' 1-0 pitch. Fastball in for a strike. It's 1-1.
Eric, I know you're a big football fan, and you got the Oilers here. Do you see the similarity to Houston Oilers?
Yes.
From the decades ago?
1-1 pitch, swung and missed, and a breaking ball, the 1-2. Yeah, that's the first thing that I saw. Now, what year did they move to Tennessee?
I knew you were going to ask.
Early 2000s. They did keep the Oilers briefly before they changed it to the Titans, didn't they? Briefly.
They've been there, what?
Probably 20 years.
20 years
at
plus.
least. The next pitch swung on a grounded towards second. Konek to go to second for one. Otto's relay, or I should say Friedlander's relay, in time for a 4-6-3 double play. Konek to Friedlander to Scruggs, and that ends the inning. Some good pitching by Sanders. That ends the inning 4-6-3. But North Texas posts a run here in the bottom of the first inning. A run on one hit. There was one error. They strand two. We head to the top of the second. Seattle leading North Texas by a score of 5-1. And welcome back, everybody. Eric Anderson along with Jeff Lowry out at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale, the winter home of the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Seattle comes to bat in the top of the second inning, leading 5-1. It'll be Vic G leading off. He's an extra hitter against the right-hander Dan Fisherball, who allowed 2 hits in that first inning. Russell Few started, but according to Jeff, came up with a bad ankle possibly and just pitched to about 4 batters. The first pitch to G. Fastball in for a strike, and it's 0-1. So we've got a couple of extra hitters coming up here and there. And a breaking ball stays high and tight, 1-1 on G.
Well, in case you really don't know the MSBL World Series very well, you'll say, well, why is he saying an extra hitter? It doesn't he mean a designated hitter? No, because they have to bat all players on the roster. And obviously there's only 9 defensive positions, so you're going to have those extra 5 guys are, in essence, an extra hitter, not a designated hitter.
The 2-1 pitch hit off the fist near short. Petty is going to have to hurry and barehands it and does throw it to first base, but not in time. Brian Smith now taking over at first base and infield single for Vic G as he hit one off the fist towards short. And that's the fourth base hit of the ball game for Seattle. So Smith now manning first base for North Texas. It is 5-1 Seattle in the top of the second. Nobody out. G at first. Here is Jeff Austin, the third baseman. Had a single, knocked in a run and scored back in that first inning. So with these extra hitters, there's sometimes appears that, well, it kind of messes up the batting order or keeps it little off just a little bit. So Austin hitting in the 2 spot. McAlpine did not hit him. It was G that hit him. So there's alternating and whatever they decide to do. G the runner at first, nobody out. The 1-0 pitch, low and inside.
Well, the other thing, Eric, that I know you haven't done too many of these games lately. The MSBL does an A-B, so you might have 2 guys sharing the 9th spot or the 11th spot, what have you. And, the first time up, it'll be the A hitter. Next time around in the order, it'll be the B hitter.
That makes sense. Austin with a count of 3-0, hitting in the 2 spot, the third baseman, the next pitch. And that's low and outside. Didn't miss by much. Ball 4, and Austin aboard for the second time in this ball game. Here's Steve Konek, the second baseman, hit by a pitch and scored in that first inning. He's the second baseman, digs in from the left side. Again, runners at first and second with nobody out here in the second inning for Seattle. And that first pitch low and inside, and it's 1-0. Top of the second inning, Seattle leading 5-1 with nobody out. G at second, he singled. Austin at first, he walked. The 1-0 pitch tails low and outside, and it's 2-0 on Austin. Seattle 3-0. North Texas trying to get their first win in the tournament. They are 1-3. 2-0 pitch swung and hit high and fairly deep to right field. Saffold going over, and he makes the catch for the first out. Tagging at second, going to third is G. Holding at first is Austin, 1 down. So Konek flies to right. There's 1 out. Ron Scruggs, the first baseman, hit by a pitch and scored back in the first. And he's the cleanup hitter for Seattle, comes to the plate. It's a wood bat division. Do they use aluminum at all in any of the aluminum at all?
Not in the tournament now. Not that I know of. I don't think they do. Because we just did the 25 national championship games in the national and the mountain. And neither one of those teams was using aluminum, so.
That first pitch is in for a strike. It's 0-1 on Scruggs.
Got activity in the bullpen, but we're blinded by it's an obstructed view. All I can see is the top of somebody's head down there, down the right field line, which is the Oilers bullpen. What a thrill it's got to be warming up in the bullpen in a beautiful major league facility like this. How excited would it be just to go down there and warm up?
Right. Runners at first and third, 1 down, a big swing and a miss, and a changeup on the 2-0 pitch. It's 2-1. They didn't change the name of the bullpen, did they? I thought there was something. You know how they're changing names of things these days? I thought there was something that. How did they ever come up with that name?
The whole bullpen?
Yeah.
I think it was back east. First the pitch. That's
2-1 pitch, foul back out of play, 2-2.
I think it had something to do with an advertisement out and beyond the fence, and there was a big old bull, and I can't remember if it was like the Baker Bowl or Shibe Park or one of those old-time, Philly or New York, and it ended up being the bullpen because of that Durham Bull kind of look.
2-2 pitch popped up behind home plate, and unable to make that catch is Gonzalez on a tough play, and Scruggs stays alive. That does sound familiar to me as far as how that came up. Ball not hit all that hard, a tough chance for Gonzalez, and Scruggs stays alive.
Well, and I don't think you give catchers enough credit, even at the major league level, on some of those short pop-ups. You're negotiating all that equipment, the face mask, and the sun in this situation, and he made a valiant effort by getting to it.
The 2-2 pitch is behind the batter, and it gets past Gonzalez, and holding at third base is G, but going to second is Austin. So 3-2 is the count on Scruggs. Austin at second, G at third with just one down. It is 5-1 Seattle, top of the second. Oilers batting in the bottom of this second inning. 3-2 pitch, swung and fouled straight back. Yeah, catcher it's not an easy position on those pop-ups in particular. Yeah, being able to warm up in a major league bullpen, and do they still warm up down the sides in the major leagues at times?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but that's something that they've always tried to get away from, because it's, there's a safety issue with it, even though there's usually someone down there kind of patrolling it for foul balls.
So the count 3-2 on Scruggs, the cleanup hitter for Seattle, with runners at second and third. One down here in the top of the second inning. Seattle leading 5-1, and this fouled back again.
A sign of a good hitter, I think, is, you fight off those pitches. Most hitters are looking either fastball or they're looking breaking ball. It's usually fastball, and if it's a tough breaking ball, you really just want to foul it off, because eventually the pitcher's going to give in to the hitter and give him a good pitch.
Payoff pitch is swung on and missed, and he is down on strikes. There's two down, and Tibbetts will come up with runners at second and third with now two outs for Seattle. Second strikeout for Fisherball, and Tibbetts, he struck out looking back in the first. Seattle got 5 runs in the first inning. There were 4 hit batsmen that were committed by North Texas. They sent 10 men to the plate. North Texas got a run in the bottom of the first inning. Rosebeck walked, Eberton singled, and then a sac fly to center by Holmes. That a changeup low and outside to Tibbetts, a center fielder, number 5 hitter for Seattle.
Boy, it would be a shot in the arm right now for North Texas to. Are they North Texas? Is that?
Yes.
Their nickname.
North Texas. A base hit here by Tibbetts could make it a 7-1 game. Seattle here in the top of the second. This one swung on and hit into right field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. 1 run will score. G comes in, waving the runner at third base. It will not be a throw. It'll go to second base as Austin scores from second, and a little blooper into right field by Tibbetts makes it a 7-1 Seattle lead. 2 runs in here in the top of the second for the Naranjeros, and still 2 outs, and brings up Mark Cervisi, who tripled, knocked in 3 runs, and scored back in the first inning.
Well, our producer here, I got to give him a little razzing. He had North Dallas on the scoreboard, and I think he was thinking about Nick Nolte and
North Dallas 40.
North Dallas 40. So, I did notice a little bottle of vodka before the game.
Bounce to Smith at first base, and with the pitcher covering, it is safe at first base as Fisherball was beaten to the bag by Cervisi. It's an infield single for Cervisi. He is 2 for 2, and on the play, Tibbetts goes to second base. So Seattle trying to add to a 7-1 lead here in the top of the second. 2 runs in, 2 outs. Tibbetts at second, Cervisi at first. And we'll see who comes up next. What were you going to start to say, Jeff?
Well, I was looking at the replay, and if the tie goes to the runner, that was probably a pretty good call by the umpire down the first base line.
Paul Otto, the left fielder, will come up. He's hitting in the 7th spot. His first at bat was Cervisi at first. Tibbetts at second, 2 down here in the top of the second. It's 7-1 Seattle. So Fisherball came in after 4 batters in that first inning for Few. Maybe he had a bad ankle. That pitch low and outside. It's 2-0. North Dallas 40. That came out in '79 based on that book by Peter Gent. Wasn't that Pete Gent? Played for the Cowboys in the 70s, or 60s, I should say. That fouled back.
Didn't you say you just watched that again? recently?
I saw the Bad News Bears.
Oh, the Bad News Bears.
And
okay.
the other game that we did was a game with Senior Baseball League.
Hudson Valley.
Hudson Valley, they were the Bad News Bears. I had not seen that movie. It just happened to be on. I hadn't seen that since it probably came out in '76. The 2-1 pitch swung and popped up towards left field. This could be trouble. And it's going to fall in for a base hit, rounding third, heading for home without a throw is Tibbetts. It is 8-1 Seattle here in the top of the second. So Otto with a pop-up single to left. Cervisi holds at second. Tibbetts came in from second base. 3 runs in here in the top of the second for Seattle. They lead it 8-1. Brings up Jeff Naranjo, the extra hitter. He was hit by a pitch back in that first inning. Runners at first and second with 2 down. Fisher ball his first pitch low and outside, and it's 1-0. Yeah, the Bad News Bears, that fun movie to watch. 48 years ago, hard to believe. Fisher ball's 1-0 pitch, swung on a tap foul outside of third. It's 1-1. Tatum O'Neill, Walter Matthau were in that.
Was Hurley the brat of that movie?
Hurley. It was the kid that Kelly Leak was the name. You're thinking Jackie Lee Haley.
Or Haley, yep.
He was the kid that rode around on the motorcycle, and then he got on the team and he was a star with them. The 1-1 pitch just about hit him back to Wayne. It's 2-1 on Naranjo. But some good lessons in that movie too. 2-1 pitch, swung and ripped on the ground towards short. Petty is up with it. Go the short way to Olivas at second. That ends the inning. So Naranjo out on a fielder's choice, 6-4. But 3 runs come across for Seattle in the top of the second inning. They do it on 1, 2, 3 base hits. No errors. They strand 2. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Seattle leading North Texas 8-1. The second inning, Seattle leading 8-1. The Oilers come to bat in the first pitch. Fastball down the middle for a strike from Sanders to Frank Clark, the left fielder. Be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Clark, Gonzalez, and Petty technically scheduled. See who comes up. The 0-1 pitch. Strike on the outside corner. It's 0-2 on Clark, the left fielder.
Well, Craig told me for the Oilers that they have only 14 guys on the roster, and every one of them is batting, so there'll be no pinch hitters.
The 0-2 pitch, low and outside, and it's 1-2 from Sanders, who's only allowed 1 hit, that to Eberton back in the first inning, in which the Oilers posted a run. Sanders' 1-2 pitch. Swung a hit off the fist towards second. Konek's going to have to hurry. Sidearm toss to Scruggs at first, and Clark retired 4-3. 3 in a row set down by Sanders. So that'll be Richard Gonzalez, the catcher, coming up in the 7 spot for North Texas. 1 down, bases empty, bottom of the second inning. Seattle leading 8-1. Sanders, the left-hander, the first pitch coming to Gonzalez. Fastball downstairs, and it's 1-0. Little bit of a breeze blowing out towards right, but nothing to affect anything. Just a pleasant weather out here in Phoenix. The 1-0 pitch, low and outside, 2-0, supposed to get to 85, and probably about 85 right now. Tomorrow back up to 93. But pretty nice for October. The 2-0 pitch, that in the dirt, gets away from Padilla, the catcher, and it's 3-0 on Gonzalez. Seattle got 5 in the first, 3 in the second. They lead at 8-1. Oilers batting in the bottom of the second inning with 1 out, the bases empty. Sanders' 3-0 pitch. Strike on the outside corner, 3-1. I guess on 3-0, if you get the green light, it is from the third base coach. I don't know, the 3-1 pitch. Swung on, tapped foul outside of third, 3-2. I remember myself in high school over to swing. You know the pitch is going to be down the middle, so why not take a rip at it? Mm-hmm. But also in the Bad News Bears movies, we were talking about somebody swung at a 3-0 pitch, and Walter Matthau, the coach, yelled at him for swinging a 3-0 pitch. But it's going to be down the middle. Mm-hmm. Why not take a rip at it? The 3-2 pitch swung on, hammered into left field for a base hit. The second hit for North Texas, a line single to left for Gonzalez.
I think one of the problems when you give yourself the green light or the coach gives you the green light, you still have to be patient. I think you've got to say, this thing's got to be down the middle, prime time, prime time meet pitch. And a lot of guys go up there and they want to hit a home run instead of just trying to hit the ball hard.
Fisher Ball, the pitcher, digs in from the right side, shows bunt, takes a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Gonzalez, the runner at first, with 1 down for North Texas. They trail at 8-1 here in the bottom of the second. You've probably seen some 3-0 home runs, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And the pitcher, Sanders, a toss to first, but Gonzalez back. Any that you can remember that?
Oh, there's too many of them.
Probably. Brad Petty on deck for North Texas. 0-1 pitch fouled straight back, and it's 0-2 on Fisher Ball. The shadow's starting to come out a little bit near first base, but a sunny afternoon here right around 2:15. The ball game's scheduled for 3 hours. You won't start another inning if it's been 3 hours. Gonzalez, runner at first with 1 down. The 1-2 pitch swung on, tapped over the mound. Freelander to second for 1. Konek, the relay throw to first. And that is a nice double play turn, 6-4-3. Freelander to Konek to Scruggs. Yeah, what about that, Jeff?
Well, that was a nifty play, and he could have flipped it to the second baseman, but was able to get that throw off and beat him by a half a step. And kudos to the Seattle defense. They're looking good here through the first 2 innings.
The end of 2, it is 8-1 Seattle over North Texas, and we'll head to the top of the third when we get back. Top of the third inning, Seattle comes to bat, leading 8-1. A brand new pitcher on for North Texas, Rene Villalobos, a right-hander, and see who digs in from the right side for Seattle. Different players, some extra hitters coming up at different times. That pitch, a little bit high.
47.
Blaze Bresky, the extra hitter, hitting right around the 9 spot, takes high, and it's 1-0. The next pitch low and outside, and it's 2-0 on Bresky. So only 14 players for North Texas. But Villalobos, the third pitcher of record for North Texas. Few started, pitched to 4 innings, then Fisherball went 2 innings. Villalobos' 1-1 pitch, and it goes behind his back and didn't graze him at all, and it's a ball, 2-1. You were talking about maybe what you were going to eat for dinner.
Yeah, I think we're going to have Hatch chili, sloppy joes.
Sounds a little spicy. The 3-0 pitch low and outside from Villalobos, and Bresky aboard with a 4-pitch walk.
Well, I mentioned that because Texas is known, and this is like a self-proclamation, that they have better Hispanic food than we do here in Arizona. But this summer was the first time I had a Hatch chili hamburger, and I fell in love with it.
Where'd you have that?
In one of those little towns, Santa Rosa, or it might have been Tucumscary. I think it was Tucumscary.
Pitch to Scott Sadler, the right fielder, way outside, and it's a wild pitch. Heading to second is Bresky in scoring position with nobody out. So Tucumcari over on the east side, east central New Mexico, you had that, huh?
Well, Eberton, Eberton, he loves hanging out in Tucumcari. That's one of his hot spots, and he's had a few Hatch chili burgers, I'm sure.
Nobody out, a runner at second base. The 1-0 pitch to Sadler. Swung on a hit off the fist foul. Back to the screen. It's 1-1.
Are we doing a trivia question this ball game?
Yes, you had a couple that have been difficult. I guess if you thought one up.
Just the one I gave you the other day. I gave one last Monday on a game, and I think it was too hard.
The 1-1 pitch misses high and outside. Villalobos to Sadler. It's 2-1. It had to do with 6 pitchers that had struck out 3,000 or more in their career and not walked over
1,000. Yeah.
Next pitch swung on a grounded foul outside of first. There's 2 strikes.
Yeah, that was a tough one. The one I asked the other day was the top 5 players, career home run leaders among switch hitters.
I wasn't there, I don't think. Eddie Murray's got to be on that list.
Yeah, he's number 2.
Number 2.
Well, you know number 1 is.
Just a second here. Runner at second, nobody out. The 2-strike pitch swung and missed, and Sadler is struck out for the second time. There's 1 down here in the top of the third inning for Seattle. They lead it 8-1. And before we get back to the switch hitters, this will be Monty McAlpine, who was hit by a pitch and scored back in the first. Mickey Mantle would have to be the top.
Oh, absolutely.
His dad, I read his biography on Mickey Mantle, and growing up, him and his grandfather, or his dad and grandfather, made him switch hit. They, as a kid, learning how to do that, they knew that was going to be valuable. Runner at second with 1 down, a swing and a miss on a breaking ball to McAlpine, the leadoff hitter for Seattle. But 536 home runs?
I think you're close. Yeah,
I can't
Murray.
remember. What Eddie Murray have?
I think it was 503, 504, somewhere in that neighborhood. Only 2 players to hit over 500 out of that switch hitter spot.
Wild pitch low and outside. Gonzalez is sort of third, not in time. Few at third base now, and Bresky at third on the wild pitch with 1 out for Seattle. How many, Reggie Jackson, what did he have? I'm trying to.
563
or
something like that.
Some of those numbers just stick in your head.
Mm-hmm.
One down, runner at third base, and that one breaking ball stayed high and tight to McAlpine. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Killebrew was 573. Does that sound familiar?
Somewhere in that neighborhood. You know who third on that list is?
Let me think just a second. The next pitch low and outside, dug out by Gonzalez, 3-2. A runner at third base is Bresky. Top of the third inning, Seattle leading 8-1. They're at bat with one out here in the top of the third.
Spent his entire career with the Atlanta Braves.
Just a second here. And the 3-2 pitch, low and outside, ball 4, and McAlpine is aboard with a walk. Runners at first and third with one down here in the top of the third. Seattle leading 8-1. And it brings up, they've hit, with these extra hitters, it's kind of been a little bit confusing at times. But this is Jeff Austin, who singled, scored in the first, and walked in the second. A switch hitter that hit Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones.
He was a switch hitter.
Yep. 467 or 8. I don't have the list in front of me.
Wow.
You won't get the next two, by the way.
Runners at first and third, one down, and that pitch a strike into Jeff Austin, who scored twice with top of the third. Runners at first and third, one down. They're probably too modern of ball players for me. I'm kind of an old time. Or maybe it's a trick. Maybe it's somebody real old. Jimmy Fox, was he a switch hitter?
No, it's not Rabbit Moranville or anybody like that. Frankie Frisch.
Was there a
Yes, there was a Rabbit Moranville.
That pitch is high, 1-0 on Jeff Austin with runners at first and third for Seattle with one down. Villalobos' next pitch in for a strike, 1-1. What time period were those switch hitters?
He's modern. Probably started his career a good close to 30 years ago. He was with the Mets. He was with the Astros, a couple other teams, but probably made his name with the Astros for his postseason.
Big switch hitter.
And could be a Hall of Famer. He might be a borderliner. I'm not sure how you'd put it.
The 1-1 pitch gets away, and Gonzalez can't find it, and scoring the ninth run for Seattle is Bresky, who scores on the wild pitch. It is 9-1 Seattle here in the top of the third with one out, and McAlpine goes to second. So a run in here in the top of the third for Seattle. They lead it 9-1 with McAlpine at second, just one down. Who was that power hitter that was Bagwell? He wasn't a switch hitter.
Yeah, this guy was an outfielder. Played a little first base, maybe. Astros, and then went to the Mets.
Not Rusty Staub.
No. He came up in the 90s.
Pitch low and outside, and it's 3-2 on Austin with McAlpine at second with one down.
I don't think you're going to get it.
What's the last name start with? What initial?
A B. He's a CB. CB.
That's the initials?
Yeah,
Craig Biggio?
No, he didn't hit that many homers.
He wasn't a home run hitter. That foul at the plate. Count remains 3-2. Well, go ahead and give me who.
Carlos Beltran.
Oh, I would not have gotten that. I guess I'm stuck back before 1994.
You're stuck in the Rabbit Moranville era.
3-2 on Austin, the third baseman for Seattle, with McAlpine at second with one down. A run in here in the top of the third. Seattle leading 9-1. Villalobos' payoff pitch swung on and grounded, cut off by the third baseman Few, who lost his footing. And it's going to be an infield single. That was going to be a difficult play anyways for North Texas, but Few, who had started at the pitcher's mound, not able to get that. It'll be an infield single for Austin. Holding at second, McAlpine, and on at first base with infield single is Jeff Austin. Carlos Beltran.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle with runners at first and second, one down here in the top of the third inning. They lead it 9-1. Here is Steve Konek, the second baseman, who's 0 for 1, hit by a pitch and scored in the first, hitting in the 3 spot. Villalobos' first pitch got away, and that goes all the way back to the backstop for a wild pitch. McAlpine heads to third, Austin to second. It is 1-0 on Koenig. So we had that trivia question with how many home runs did Barry Bonds end up with? About 7. Hank Aaron was 755.
762?
So not many more than Hank.
No,
A base hit here could make it 11-1 Seattle. The 1-0 pitch. That one hit in the air towards left center field. Could be trouble. It falls in for a base hit. One run will score, and they're going to hold the runner at third base. Austin, it's 10-1. Seattle here in the top of the third as McAlpine comes in, scoring from third on the looping line drive to left by Koenig. He picks up an RBI. Holding at third is Austin. And it brings up the cleanup hitter Ron Scruggs, the first baseman, who's 0 for 1, including a run scored in the first and hit by a pitch. So Austin at third, Koenig at first with just one down, 2 runs in here in the top of the third for Seattle, and that fouled into the netting third base side. It's 0-1. Seattle leading it by a score of 10-1 here in the top of the third.
Still one out?
Yes, one down, runners at first and third. Austin at third. He singled Koenig at first, held on by Smith.
Yeah, we had a good breeze blowing out a little while ago, but it's kind of died down now.
The 0-1 offering, breaking ball low and outside, 1-1. Yeah, no wind to speak of at all.
You know, have you noticed that all these spring training facilities are pretty good size dimension-wise? I mean,
right.
Do you ever figure out why that is?
Dimension-wise, the measurements?
Yeah, why are these parks usually bigger than the regular season homes?
Now that pitch was behind the back of Scruggs, back to the backstop, heading to second, Koenig. Austin stays at third. It is 2-1. You think it's a little bigger than this is? What is the dimensions of the Diamondbacks ballpark or Colorado?
Well, Colorado. Well, I'll tell you why. Because Colorado has got big. Coors Field's got fences that are pretty far out. I think it's because Phoenix we're at 1,200 feet, roughly, in elevation.
2-1 pitch, a big swing and a miss. It's 2-2.
In fact, Phoenix is the second highest elevation in Major League Baseball.
Huh. Behind, what are we, 1,200 you said?
Yeah, well, roughly. Out here, you're probably a little higher because you got mountains not too far away.
Runners at second and third, one out for Seattle. The 1-2 pitch swung and hammered high and deep to right center field. This is going to fall in for a base hit. 2 runs will score. And trotting into second base with a double is Scruggs and 2 RBIs. It is now 12-1. Seattle here in the top of the third, and still just one out as Austin came in from third base. Koenig easily scored from second. 4 runs in here in the top of the third for Seattle, and Scruggs at second with a double and 2 RBIs. How did they ever come up with the fact, or in baseball, we're different ballparks, there wasn't a uniform dimension as far as the outfield, the distances go? Runner at second, one out for Seattle, and that one a changeup in for a strike to Tibbetts. It's 0-1.
I think that's an interesting point you make. Why doesn't every park 345 down the lines, 410 to center? And I think it just makes baseball a lot more interesting. Each ballpark has its own quirky dimensions.
Right.
Some are bandbox. Some of them might have a very short line down the line, kind of like Fenway Park.
What is the distance to left in Fenway? I mean, you got to hit it. How high is that? You probably know.
Well, there was that story that Tiger pitching great Mickey Lolich actually went out and measured it, and it was like 279 feet, even though I think it says 315 on the monster. So, Mickey Lolich might argue that point if he's still around.
2-1 on Tibbetts. He has 2 RBIs, 1 for 2, a run scored and a base hit in the second. Scruggs at second, 4 runs in with 1 out here in the top of the third for Seattle. They lead at 12-1. The 2-1 pitch Swung on and missed. And it's 2-2 on Tibbetts. How high is the green monster out there?
You know, it seems like it's about 60 feet, but I think it's under 40 feet, actually. I think it's 36 or 37, something like that.
A lot of famous balls have been hit over that, down the line, off the fence. Scruggs at second with one down. The 2-2 pitch. Low and outside, 3-2 on Tibbetts, hitting in the 5 spot. Well, the Polo Grounds, that was the Giants, right? And I don't remember the last year that the ball was played there, but there was no center field, right? It just would go on 500 feet or whatever it was. Payoff pitch over the head of the, well, it was 2-2. Now it's 3-2 on Tibbetts. But it just, I don't think there was.
Well, I think there was a place the players would go out there, like a clubhouse, and then there was a place that, there was like a building out there, and it was over 500 feet. But, yeah, you could hit it. If you hit that building that's out there, that's ball 4, it was a home run. In fact, 4 players, including Babe Ruth and of all people, Lou Brock, there's only 4 players in a regular season game to hit one out over the center field.
Brock did it?
Lou Brock, can you believe it? 180 pounds soaking
Not
wet.
known as so if you hit it over this little clubhouse in straightaway center field, that would be a home run. So there was something out there.
Yes.
Runners at first and second for Seattle, one down, and a swing and a miss by Cervisi, who's 2 for 2, a triple, run scored in the first, single in the second, 3 RBIs.
Well, Philadelphia played in a park called the Baker Bowl.
Oh,
back in the early part of the century, and they actually had a 60-foot wall in right field.
The 0-1 pitch. This is swung on and fouled straight back by Cervisi. It is 0-2. 4 runs in here in the top of the third for Seattle. They lead it 12-1 over North Texas. 1 out. Scruggs at second, Tibbetts at first. When did they quit playing the Giants? Is that when they moved to San Francisco? Was the end of the poll?
57, I think.
58, somewhere
58.
around that. I think 59 was the first year out there, maybe.
Yeah,
Dodgers left after 57, right? So 58 was the first. Because Roy Campanella had his accident
while playing in Brooklyn.
Yes, 57, I believe. Yeah, then 58. That swung on and missed. Cervisi down on strikes. There's 2 down. And the batter will be, let's see, Doug mentioned the extra batters. Like you said, there's an A and B batter. This is Doug Harris, who singled, knocked in a run back in the first inning. 2 down runners at first and second. 4 runs in here in the top of the third for Seattle. They lead it 12-1. Villalobos was from the stretch, the pitch. Breaking ball that backed him away. It's 1-0. So Brock hit one over that in center field. You think it was 500 feet?
Oh, it had to be. I think it was 503 to straightaway center, something obscured like that.
Yeah. The 1-0 pitch Villalobos, and this swung on and fouled back behind home plate. And a basket catch attempt by Gonzalez, but not able to handle it. And it's 1-1 on Harris. Yeah, how did they come up with all the different, distances? Cleveland Municipal used to be 445. That was very long.
I think with the Polo Grounds, it was probably because of the neighborhood that they had to squeeze it in, and they had those, it was very short down the line, well under 300 both. I think it was 259 in left field.
So very short to left.
But then the wall extended straight out.
1-1 pitch, a little blooper towards second. Olivas makes the catch. That ends the inning, and Harris is retired. But in the top of the third inning for Seattle, they pick up 4 runs. They do it on 1, 2, 3 base hits. No errors. They strand 2. We head to the bottom of the third inning here at Salt River Fields in Scottsdale. Seattle leading North Texas by a score of 12-1. Bottom of the third inning, Seattle with a 12-1 lead. Left-hander Jess Sanders starts his third inning of work. So Seattle with a big lead early on. Be the bottom of the order for North Texas. And check and see who comes up officially here. It'll be Brad Petty, the shortstop, making his first plate appearance, hitting in the 8th spot. On deck, Brian Smith, the first baseman. So Petty stands in from the right side against the left-hander Jess Sanders. The first pitch, fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. They play shallow in the outfield, left and right. G now playing at third base. Mentioned some defensive changes that they sneak in here and there as far also extra batters. The 0-1 pitch swung on, grounded towards short. Friedlander bobbles it for a second. Up with it, fires to first, and the throw is off the mark. Well, let's double check to make sure that Friedlander is still at shortstop. There may have been a change. Nevertheless, Petty aboard at first base. Fielding here by the shortstop. And that first pitch to Brad Smith, who at first base, nobody out, and Petty the runner at first base. Nobody out. Sanders from the stretch. Pitch to Smith, low and outside. It's 2-0. Runner at first, nobody out. This one swung on, tapped back to the mound. Sanders has it to second for one, and that's all they will get. There is one down. Smith aboard with the fielder's choice at first. We'll double check who's in the field. At shortstop for Seattle. Double check still that that's... Well, the change has been made. It is Rob Webb. Webb is at shortstop now for Seattle. Apologize for that. Smith at first, lefty on lefty, one down. The first pitch, a breaking ball for a strike to Mike Skaggs, an extra hitter. So Webb at shortstop for Seattle now. The 0-1 pitch, breaking ball that stayed high and inside. Smith off at first, held on by Scruggs. The 2-0 pitch swung on and fouled at home plate. It's 2-1 to Skaggs, hitting in the 9 spot. They shade him around to the right side slightly in the outfield and shallow. From the stretch, the 2-1 pitch to Skaggs swung on and missed. There's no scoreboard operating, so we're really having to depend on the first or the home plate umpire, and that is strike 3, in fact. Skaggs down on strikes. There is 2 down. And it brings up Rene Villalobos, who's been the pitcher now with a runner at first base and 2 outs. Bottom of the third inning, Seattle leading 12-1, and the first pitch low and outside, and it's 1-0 on Villalobos. Villalobos came in to pitch in that third inning for North Texas. 2 down, a runner at first. The next pitch low and outside, 2-0 on Villalobos. Seattle 5 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third. We're in the bottom of the third. Oilers batting trailing 12-1. This one swung on a soft line drive into left field for a base hit. So Villalobos aboard with a soft single to left. Smith holds at second with 2 down for the Oilers here in the bottom of the third. They got a run in the first. A walk to Rosebeck, a single by Eberton, and a sac fly by Holmes. So it'll be David Welsh coming to the plate for the first time, an extra hitter. And a courtesy runner at first for Villalobos, it'll be Petty. Brad Petty will be the courtesy runner at first for the pitcher Villalobos. 2 down, runners at first and second. Here's David Welch. Pitch, a strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1. You mentioned some of the other switch hitters that had hit. Who hit 407 home runs? Can't remember who it was. Sanders and Smith, a big lead, edging off second. This popped up foul territory, first base side. It falls foul, and it's 0-2 on Welsh. 407 home runs. No. Sanders, the pitcher for Seattle's, allowed 3 hits, 1 run that was earned in the first inning. Brian Smith at second, Petty running for Villalobos at first, 2 down. This swung on and missed, or foul tipped at home plate, and heading back to first is Petty. 2-2 on Welsh. North Texas has had issues on the offensive side of the plate of the ball game. The 2-strike pitch swung on line towards left field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. They'll hold Smith at third, and they're loaded up here in the bottom of the third for the Oilers. So Welsh, a line single to left. It'll bring up Russell Few, who was the pitcher to start the ball game. Then he went to third base. F-E-W. Few with the bases loaded, but 2 outs. Welch at first, Petty at second, running for Villalobos. Smith held at third. A big at bat here for both sides. Sanders from the stretch, the left-hander's pitch to Few. Takes low and outside, 1-0 to Few. Yankee first, Don Mattingly? No, he didn't have 400. 1-0 pitch, swung on and missed, 1-1. Yankee first base, and a switch hitter? I will have to think of that. Bases loaded, 2 down. The 1-1 pitch swung on and tapped towards third. It is going to stay fair, and G tags the bag. That ends the inning. So Few is retired, 5 unassisted on a roller to third base. Bottom of the third for the Oilers, no runs on 1 hit, no errors. They leave the bases loaded. We head to the top of the 4th inning. Salt River Fields in Scottsdale. Seattle leading North Texas 12-1. Top of the fourth inning, Rene Villalobos starts his second full inning of work. Seattle leading 12-1 as they come to bat in the top of the fourth. And here's the first pitch. Breaking ball a little bit low and outside, and leading off number 30. We're going to have to take a look as some changes here. Some extra batters and whatnot as he stands in from the right side. The next pitch, that one got away from Villalobos. Two and 0. It is Justin Steinbach. So Steinbach, the batter, it's 1-1. You remember Terry Steinbach, the catcher for the A's? Then he was from Minnesota. Did he finish up with the Twins? He had a home run in the All-Star game once, didn't he? River, was it at the Reds? That low and outside, it's 2-1 on Steinbach. Yeah, that sounds about right. So he was with the A's majority of the time. Villalobos' 2-1 pitch, low and inside, 3-1 to Steinbach, making his first plate. Well, they're going to say he was grazed on that pitch, I believe. And top of the fourth inning, Steinbach leads off, and he's on at first base with nobody out.
You know, Eric, a lot of people don't realize that the shirt is part of the body. And if at any part of the ball, the pitch ball hits the shirt, you're going to be granted first base.
Naranjo will be the courtesy runner at first base for Steinbach. With nobody out, held on by Holmes, who's now back at first base. And a changeup low and inside to the next batter. Got to double check with these numbers. A lot of the uniform numbers, they don't have the number on the front side. So Naranjo running at first base, held on by Holmes for Seattle with nobody out. Villalobos' 1-0 pitch gets away from the catcher Gonzalez, but no movement at first base. Now in the major leagues, the batter's now not really allowed to get out of the batter's box unless calling timeout, and they're not getting out of the box quite as much. It's 2-0 on the batter with a runner at first base. And that is a beanball. And it's Brad Hoban hit by a pitch. So Hoban hit by a pitch. He's on at first base. Hit batsman. Naranjo goes to second. Brings up Scott Sadler, the right fielder. Runners at first and second. Nobody out for Sadler, who struck out twice. Villalobos from the stretch. The pitch. A little bit low, it's 1-0. We're in the top of the fourth inning. It is 12-1 Seattle. They're at bat with nobody out. Runners at first and second. The outfield shading around towards right. So a big alley in left center field. The 1-0 pitch swung and missed, and a changeup. It's 1-1. Temperature in the mid-80s out here in Scottsdale this afternoon. About an hour and a half into the ball game. Shadows coming in foul territory, first base side, and that one is laid off by Sadler. It's 2-1, low and outside. So the sun an issue in the outfield, as well as these very clear high skies in Arizona. Tough on pop-ups, particularly in the outfield. The 2-1 pitch. That low and inside in the dirt, dug out by Gonzalez. 3-1 on Sadler. Villalobos, the third pitcher of record for North Texas. Few pitched to four batters, and Fisherbaugh pitched to, it was 2 innings, in fact, and Villalobos on for his second inning with runners at first and second, nobody out. 3-1 pitch skied towards second base. Levis under it and makes a basket catch. Now let's double check to see who is at second base. Maybe some defensive changes. And at second base now is Fisherbaugh instead of Levis. So Fisherbaugh making that circus catch at second base. One down. And now Vic G., who singled and scored back in the second inning, digs in from the right side with one out, runners at first and second for Seattle. Villalobos' pitch low and outside. Well, looked like maybe he called a strike. Not a lot of emotion or energy put into that call. We'll call it 0-1. Low and outside. 0-1 on G. Villalobos' next pitch sails a little bit high. It's 1-1. Naranjo running at second for Steinbach. Holben at first. One out for Seattle. They lead it 12-1 here in the top of the fourth. The 1-1 offering swung on and slammed foul just outside of third by G. Quick bat on that one. And for Seattle, we'll check and see who's on deck. Some changes here and there in that batting order with the extra hitters. 3-4 on deck for Seattle. The next pitch, a changeup high. Jeff Austin on deck. With these extra hitters, it gets the batting order a little bit confusing. That one on the two-strike pitch fouled into the screen first base side. It remains 2-2. Austin, who is on deck, hitting in the 2 spot. So G essentially hitting in that 1 spot. 2-2 on G, who singled and scored back in the second. Naranjo at second. Holben at first with 1 out. The 2-2 pitch swung on hit on 1 hop, or the second hop to short. Petty up with it, goes to second for 1. The relay to first, not in time. And G is on at first base with a fielder's choice. There's 2 down. Double check and see who's at shortstop now for the Oilers. Petty remains at shortstop for the Oilers. 2 down, runners at first and second for Jeff Austin, who has a pair of base hits. Pitch low and inside to Austin from Villalobos. It is 1-0 on the Seattle 2-hitter. Scored 3 runs. He's walked a couple of times, a base hit, and RBI. Runners at first and third, 2 down for Seattle. They've scored in every inning. The 1-0 pitch, low and inside, gets away from Gonzalez. It's 2-0. Seattle 5 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third. We're in the top of the fourth inning. Seattle leading 12-1. With 2 down, runners at first and third. 2-0 on Austin, who scored 3 runs. And that outside, it's 3-0. G on at first, Naranjo at third. I believe the umpire showing 3-0. Next pitch over the head of Austin, and he is walked. So Austin aboard with a 2-out walk. The bases are loaded. It'll be Steve Konek, who has scored 2 runs, officially 1 for 2, including an RBI. Hitting in the 3 spot for Seattle. A base hit here could really open this thing up. It is 12-1, top of the 4th. Seattle, bases loaded. They're batting with 2 outs. Villalobos' first pitch. Downstairs, a ball. It's 1-0. Seattle, the Naranjeros, meaning orange growers in English, looking like the Baltimore Orioles in their uniforms. The 1-0 pitch sails high and outside, and a fastball. It's 2-0. No place to put Koenig. They're loaded up and 2 outs for Seattle here on the top of the 4th. Seattle with a 12-1 lead. The 2-0 delivery, in for a strike and a fastball, 2-1. They shade him around to the right in the outfield. A lot of room down the left field line and left center field, straightaway center. Villalobos' 2-1 pitch swung on and chopped towards second. Fisherbaugh not able to handle it. It scoops into center field, and a run will score. It'll be an errors coming in. Naranjo from third. It is 13-1. Seattle here on the top of the 4th. Bases remain loaded with 2 outs. So 13-1 Seattle here in the top of the 4th. It'll be Ron Scruggs, the first baseman and cleanup hitter for Seattle, with 2 outs and the bases loaded. He knocked in 2 runs with a double in the 3rd. Villalobos' pitch. This is grounded towards second. Fisherbaugh with a routine play, and that ends the inning. Scruggs out 4-3, and Seattle only picks up a run in the 4th. They do it on no base hits. There was 1 error. They leave the bases loaded. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Seattle leading North Texas by a score of 13-1. Bottom of the fourth inning, North Texas comes to bat, trailing 13-1. It'll be the top of the order, Rosebeck, Olivas, and Eberton scheduled against left-hander Jess Sanders. And that first pitch, a ball, as Rosebeck walked and scored back in the first inning. He's started off in center field. There's been a lot of changes defensively, and to see where he's at now. Lefty on lefty. Sanders' 1-0 pitch to Rosebeck. Fastball in for a strike, 1-1. Temperature right around 85 degrees. The shadows starting to come up foul territory, first base side. The 1-1 pitch swung on broken bat roller towards first. Scruggs is over. Underhand toss, but Sanders not there to cover. We'll call it an infield single. So Rosebeck aboard with an infield single towards first. You knew that could have been trouble. It was a slow roller, and the pitcher, Sanders, not over to cover, and the ball getting away. It'll be actually an error. Also, Rosebeck, or I should say Scruggs, probably should have held onto that ball, but the base runner gets to first, and the single goes to second on that throwing error. Rosebeck at second, nobody out. Here's Kiki Olivas. Bounced back to the mound back in the first inning, started at second base. Sanders' pitch low in the dirt, gets past Padilla, and heading to third base is Rosebeck on the wild pitch. North Texas 0-3 in Seattle. Naranjeros 3-0 on this tournament, 55 plus. Cactus Division. Sanders' 1-0 pitch swung on a line drive towards right center field. This is going to be extra bases into the alley. Rounding first, Olivas on his way to second. Rosebeck easily scores from third, and heading to second with an RBI double is Olivas. It is 13-2 Seattle. Run in for the Oilers in the bottom of the fourth. So Olivas singling to right center, the fourth base hit, the ball game for North Texas. George Eberton, the third baseman, had a single in the first, comes up in the first pitch, low and inside, just about hit him. It's 1-0. So a run in for North Texas here in the bottom of the fourth. They trail at 13-2. Olivas at second with nobody out. The shortstop Webb playing a little bit behind the runner at second base, so a big hole through the left side of the infield. 1-0 pitch, low, and it's 2-0 on Eberton, the number 3 hitter for North Texas. Craig Holmes, the cleanup hitter on deck, first base side for the Oilers. The 2-0 pitch, swung and missed, a big rip by Eberton. It is 2-1. North Texas, a lot of injuries. They've had not a lot of offense in the tournament. Olivas at second. He had an RBI double. Nobody out. Sanders' 2-1 pitch. Fastball low and outside, 3-1. We always like to quiz ourselves on former major league players that we knew growing up in the 70s. Ken Sanders, remember the relief pitcher from the Brewers? That was real early 70s, a relief pitcher, I believe a left-hander. The 3-1 pitch. Swung on a tap foul, third base side. 3-2. I think he was traded to Boston, or he was traded somewhere. He wasn't with the Brewers in 73. I think he had a lot of, back then if you had 20 saves, that was a lot. Does Thigpen still have the record with 57? I remember that. The payoff pitch swung on and grounded towards short. Webb is up with a long toss to first, a little bit high, and the runner Eberton will be tagged out. He's out 6-3. Olivas goes to third, 1 out. Now the rules for saves back then, a lot of times Raleigh Fingers would pitch 3 innings of picking up a save. Now a pitcher has to pitch to at least 3 batters. Isn't that correct? What if you came in with 2 outs in the 9th? Then it doesn't matter. Leave us at third. Here's Craig Holmes, who reached on an error in the first inning. Lefty on lefty, fastball low and outside to the cleanup hitter from Sanders to Holmes. A run in for the Oilers here in the bottom of the 4th. They trail at 13-2, 1 down. Leave us at third. Sanders' 1-0 pitch. Swung and fouled at home plate. 1-1 on Holmes. Does Rivera, who has the save record? Bobby Thigpen, I remember, had 57 with the White Sox. Was that the late 80s?
Frankie Rodriguez, 62.
Oh, 62. Runner at third with 1 down. The 1-1 pitch to Holmes. That backed him away. It's 2-1. Was that K-Rod? I think. Didn't he come to the Brewers after he kind of lost some of his real good stuff? He might have, but like in the 90s, but still didn't really have his best stuff. 2-1 pitch backed Holmes away. It's 3-1. We're in the bottom of the 4th. Seattle leading 13-2. Oilers at bat with Olivas at third with 1 out. He doubled and knocked in a run. 3-1 offering, swung on, fouled straight back. It's 3-2. So there probably isn't room on a roster these days for a left-hander that may come in and face 1 batter. Huh? Not as, unless there's 2 outs. The payoff pitch to Holmes, swung on and popped up foul territory, third base side, and it's long run for G, but he can't get there. The count remains 3-2 on Craig Holmes. Seattle got 5 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, 1 in the 4th. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. A run in for North Texas. They trail at 13-2 with 1 out and Olivas at third base. Jess Sanders has gone the whole way for Seattle. Again, the 3-2 pitch. Swung and missed. A good changeup, and Holmes is down on strikes. There's 2 down. Scheduled is the right fielder, Vic Saffel. Saffel comes up. He bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the first inning. Olivas remains at third, but there's 2 outs. Sanders' pitch. Fastball low and outside, and it's 1-0. This ballpark opened, I believe, 2011, didn't it, Jeff? I think that's correct. Salt River Fields, the 1-0 pitch. Strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Winter home of the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. Olivas at third with 2 outs. The 1-1 pitch popped up foul, first base side. It'll get out of play. 1-2. North Texas, the Oilers out of Fort Worth. Ball game approaching the 2-hour mark. After 3 hours, they cannot start another inning. 151. Sanders looking for a strikeout here with 2 outs and Olivas at third base. A run in for North Texas in the bottom of the 4th. They trail at 13-2. Sanders' 1-2 pitch fouled at home plate. 2 strikes remain on Saffold. Should say Saffel, the right fielder, hitting in the 5 spot for North Texas. Strikeouts for Sanders in the ball game. He has struck out 2. The left-hander rocks and deals the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball low and inside. And it's 2-2 depending, or we're counting on home plate umpire to give the balls and strikes. No scoreboard operating here today. Runner at third base, 2 down for North Texas. The 2-2 pitch just missed low and inside, 3-2. Frank Clark, the number 6 hitter on deck, first base side for North Texas. Olivas, who doubled, is the runner at third with 2 outs. Sanders' payoff pitch swung on lined into center field, and that is a nice grab in center by Tibbetts. That ends the inning. Let's make sure that it's still Tibbetts in center field. That ends the inning. I have to wait and see for him to turn around, but a nice catch in center on the line drive by Saffel. That ends the 4th inning for North Texas. They pick up a run. 2 hits, no errors, a strand, a runner. We head to the top of the 5th inning. Seattle leading North Texas by a score of 13-2.
All right, we're heading back to the top of the 5th inning, and Fred Clark is going to be the new pitcher, the right-hander. He is the 4th pitcher employed here by the manager, Craig Holmes, for the Oilers. Still looking for their first win in this 2024 MSBL World Series. So we go to the top of the 5th inning, 13-2 in favor of Seattle.
Jay Lunt will be making his first plate appearance against Frank Clark, so Lunt will be leading off here. Let's just take a look and see. Lunt will be hitting in this inning, but we may have a batter before him.
Yeah, so many times that in the hole hitter, he wants to get a better look at the warm-ups of the pitcher, but in this case, Lunt will lead things off here in the top of the 5th inning. Well, what a beautiful day here from Salt River Fields, the winter home of the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. As Eric mentioned, opened in 2011 on a sun-splash afternoon in Scottsdale, Arizona. Where else would you want to be?
It's actually going to be Todd Cochran will hit in front of Lunt. So Cochran will lead off, and Lunt is on deck. Cochran the batter.
Okay, so here's Cochran and taking the first pitch called strike. No balls and 1 strike. Clark on the mound, the 4th pitcher used here. And activity down in the bullpen. This was hit to short. He's up with it. He's got him at first base, and there's 1 down.
Smith now at first base and Petty at shortstop. So Cochran down 6-3, and Jay Lunt will be the batter.
This will be our trivia question inning. I know we had one earlier, but I think it was more for Eric's get his brain going.
So Lunt the batter for the first time with 1 out and the bases empty.
Hard-hitting right-handed hitter. And the first pitch to him is hit in the air. Shortstop, left field. It's the left fielder coming on and cannot make a play, and it drops in for a base hit.
Mike Skaggs now in left field. He's not able to get it as Clark on the mound, so Skaggs in left for North Texas. Paul Otto is now scheduled to hit. He had started in left field for Seattle.
So another right-handed hitter coming up here. Paul Otto, a courtesy runner, heading over to first base, wearing number 15.
Mark Cervisi will be the courtesy runner for Lund.
So a runner at first base and one out. We're in the top of the fifth inning. Seattle got 5 runs in the top of the first inning, and they've never looked back. I think right now, I mean, if you're a part of this Oilers team, you just got to enjoy just being out here and the camaraderie. Not worry about that score. Just try to have a good time and make some plays. Here's a line drive into right field, and that ball is going to drop in for a hit, maybe. Well, if the first baseman had been on the bag, he might have got him.
Saffel in right field just about threw out the runner at first.
So Otto with a single. You got runners at first and second, one out here in the top of the fifth inning. I know what you're saying. You're not sure at any time if somebody new's coming up to the plate. So that's why we check every time. This is 30.
Justin Steinbach for the second time.
And he skies one into shallow left field, and this ball is going to drop foul. Good hustle by all three, especially your shortstop. And that'll make it no balls and 1 strike on Steinbach. And this is not Terry, the former Oakland A's catcher.
Petty remains at shortstop, Few at third, Skaggs in left for North Texas. Steinbach walked back in the 4th inning.
First and second occupied with 1 man out here in the inning. And almost an eephus pitch that time. Did he call that one a strike? That arm signal is just tough to pick up.
Right.
That one's a called strike. I saw the hand go up that time. Sometimes he'll raise the hand and you can't see it, but it is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, that almost looked like low in the dirt almost.
2 on with 1 out. And a fly ball pop up on the infield, and the second baseman is there. And the hitter just simply lost his bat. It went flying over to the third base dugout, currently occupied by the team in orange.
Olivas back at second base. He made that catch for the second out. Always good to double check who actually is coming to the plate.
First pitch missed outside. Looks like 11.
Yeah, it is the leadoff hitter, Monty McAlpine.
McAlpine. And inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 balls, no strikes. Our trivia question, 6 players in baseball history, 2 of which are still pitching unless they decide to retire here shortly. 3,000 strikeouts with less than 1,000 walks. Only 6 players. 2 are active as of my last recollection. And the 4 that 3 of the 4 are in the Hall of Fame, and 1 should be in the Hall of Fame. That's ball 4. And now the bases are loaded. So 3 Hall of Famers, 1 guy that should, 2 active, 3,000 or more strikeouts with 1,000 or less walks. That is an amazing statistic when you think about, some of these guys pitching in the steroid era, dealing with a small strike zone, though I know one of them I think might have had an extended strike zone on the mound and on that list. And here's a rope into right field, and that's a base hit. And 1 run will score. They will go station to station, and it's 14-2 in favor of Seattle.
So Scott Sadler lining that one into right field for a base hit. He was 0 for 3.
So a couple of touchdown lead here for Seattle, and hopefully North Texas can get going when they come up in the home half of the 5th inning. Bases remain loaded. And this looks like might be 11. Yes, it is.
Again, 11. We'd had him. It's a little bit confusing here. We swore we had 11 just a moment ago.
Hit the shortstop, and he will go to second, and they'll get the out there, and that will retire the side. So they get a run, and they leave 3. We'll be back from Salt River Fields in just a moment. Seattle with a nice lead here. We go to the home half of inning number 5. You're watching the 2024 MSBL World Series on APN. Rick Overcash is the new pitcher on the mound for the Seattles. Right-handed pitcher. 4 innings for their starter today, and honestly, I think you got to have a supplement to this rule. Of course, in baseball, in regular baseball, you got to go 5 innings to pick up a victory in most cases, and I think to deny the Seattle starting pitcher here today of a win. I mean, they got out to a 14-2 lead. He pitched very well, and I think the official score, if this lead holds up, as we're 2 hours into this contest, I think you got to give him the victory.
So, bottom of the 5th inning, North Texas comes to bat, trailing 14-2, and you mentioned Rick Overcash now on the mound for Seattle. Shadow is really coming out now, and Frank Clark, who's in left field and pitched the last inning, will come to the plate for the Oilers.
So here's Clark against Overcash. Being Overcash is a good thing.
Yep.
I'd rather be named Overcash than Undercash. First pitch is low, ball 1.
Thornton is now at second base. We're going to try to get a few more if there's any more defensive changes, but no numbers on the front. Just on the back.
Well, I don't think a lot of people who haven't done play-by-play before or stadium announcing, it's really tough if you don't have it at least on the arm, on the sleeve, or the front of the jersey. Because in baseball, most of the time these guys are facing us up here in the broadcast area.
Yep.
There's a look at the shadows as we give you that wide shot here. Beautiful Salt River Fields in Scottsdale. Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. What was it? There's two tribes that lived in this area, and some still do.
Tohono O'odham, they were down more by the border, but they're listed as being here.
This is a bouncing ball over the pitcher's mound. Nice play by the second baseman. His throw to first is going to be wide. The runner took the turn, but no one's there to make a tag, so that'll be an infield hit. And the Oilers are off and running here in the home half of the fifth inning with a leadoff single.
So Richard Gonzalez, the catcher, now comes to the plate.
I think Richard's caught a nice game here today for the Oilers. Had some trouble with those short pop-ups, which, would give Johnny Bench some problems. First pitch, and it's taken low for ball one. 1 ball and no strikes. 14-2 is the score here in the bottom half of the fifth inning. Jeff Lowry with you on the APN Sports Play-by-Play Network. In our coverage of the 2024 MSBL World Series, we're in the 55 division, Cactus Division.
Gonzalez had a single back in the second inning. Sun's becoming a problem, I imagine, on that left side of the infield and center field, looking into the sun.
And a smash down to third, gobbled up there. He'll throw it to second one. Can they turn the double play? They do not. But a nice job of getting to that ball, scooped it up quickly, and then fired it over to first base. They get the fielder's choice.
Austin back at third base. Thornton now at second. So Austin, who started third, back at third base. Here's Dan Fisherbaugh.
Second pitcher used today, Fisherbaugh. And he swings and misses. What do you got there? 1 or 2 out?
1 down here in the bottom of the fifth.
Okay, I was just double checking on the air. High fly ball fouling out of play. We lost our executive producer of the game, so I'm doing double duty here. He's sleeping over there in the cacti. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, we love him anyway. And he just got a piece of that one. 1 out with a runner at first base. Hey, I'd like to see North Texas get a few runs here. That'd be kind of fun. I think they've only scored, 6, 7 runs through their first 4 games. They got a doubleheader again tomorrow and playing shorthanded. Pitch, and just under the knees, 2-2.
Friedlander back in at shortstop for Seattle.
Or check that 1 ball, 2 strikes. Eric, you talk about these shadows, and what's dangerous is being a pitcher. And a line drive back to the mound. Here's a looper out into center field. It's going to drop for a hit. So North Texas has a couple of guys on here on the base hit to center field.
So Brad Petty, the shortstop, will come up now.
So Brad Petty, good contact hitter. I mean, I know they're down by 12, but, you know, if you're the manager, Holmes, over there in the first base dugout, you know, you got a guy up here who's a good contact hitter, and he's a guy that can go the opposite field. Could get those runners going. Maybe not the first or second, but if he gets an advantage count right here, you might see these guys going. I don't think they're going to be stealing third right now. I don't know. I'd take a chance. Swing and a miss.
Frank Clark now running for Dan Fisherbaugh at first base.
But I was getting back to these shadows. I mean, you talk about even throwing the ball back, the catcher throwing it back to his pitcher is a challenge. That sun is right over the stadium, the roof of the stadium. As that pitch missed, 1-1 strike on Petty. But a screaming line drive back to the mound, and that a lot of times, you know, you don't want to be playing a game. Of course, spring training, they are playing at this time of day.
Yep.
But the sun is a little different in October than it is in April. That's a strike. He painted the outside corner with a fastball. And the count on Petty with 1 out and 2 on, 1 ball, 2 strikes. See if he goes back outside or tries to run one up and in. The pitch. And it was probably out of the strike zone, and Petty fouls it off. The count holds at 1 ball and 2 strikes. As we give you the wide shot, you can see that home plate is completely engulfed in the shadows. And a lot of hitters will say it's tougher to pick up the baseball, though I've heard major league hitters say that the batter's eye here is very, very good. An advantage for the hitter. And an inside-out swing, and as good hitters do, they fight off those close pitches with a foul ball and hopes for a prime-time pitch somewhere down the middle.
In the old days, didn't they have people in center field, people watching in the stands? They never did?
Oh, I don't know. There's been a lot of stadiums. And this one gets away, and now the runners will be at first and third. So a wild pitch.
I never even thought about the batter's eye out there that makes sure that the ball doesn't get lost in the crowd. But I don't know. Maybe I didn't pay attention to it when I was younger. I don't know.
Well, I know Riverfront never had one. Three Rivers, Philadelphia. I don't think they had them. That's another foul ball. And Petty really battling up there. Here in the bottom half of the fifth inning, his team's got runners at first and third with one man out. Let's see if Petty can come through and play to run here for North Texas. I'm trying to think what stadium would have had the first batter's eye? Camden Yards, maybe? Maybe that's where it started.
I just didn't pay attention to it.
I had never thought about it, to be honest with you.
I hadn't either.
The windup and the pitch. And that one in the dirt. Nice job, Eric, by the catcher, keeping that body in front of that ball. That would have easily been a wild pitch and probably produced a run.
Yeah, Padilla, the catcher, has done a fine job behind home plate.
That's inside, and he lost him, and now the bases are loaded. Well, that was a good at-bat right there.
Brian Smith is going to come up. He's played over at first base quite a bit, reached in a fielder's choice in the third inning. So just one down and the bases loaded for North Texas. Bottom of the fifth, they're down 14-2.
Ready with the first pitch. Changeup is lined out into center field, a base hit. That will plate the third run of the day, and they'll go station to station. So a nice clean single to center field.
Mike Skaggs will come up. He did, he came into play in left field for North Texas. a while back.
Didn't we have a game with Mike Skaggs a few years ago? I went to school with Mike Skaggs. I don't think it's the same one unless he's from Greenville, Ohio. High fly ball right into the sun, and the center fielder's got a beat on it, and that will produce a run. That'll be a sacrifice fly, and it's now 14-2 with 2 out.
Tibbetts had been manning center field, but until he turns around in center field, we won't be able to. Want to double check and see who was playing out there, but he did a good job to fight that sun.
Well, certainly not a routine play by any stretch of the imagination.
Rene Villalobos, the pitcher, will come up now, or he was the third pitcher of record.
So it's 14-4 now as they have scored twice here in the home half of the 5th inning. And a ground ball foul. Okay, the answer to that trivia question, did we give them enough time?
The one with the 6 pitchers?
The 6 pitchers with 3,000 Ks and less than 1,000 walks. Ferguson Jenkins, the first to do it, believe it or not. You would have thought like Christy Matheson or
Cy Young.
Yeah, I think Cy had too many innings. All-time innings leader in baseball history. That's Ball.
You know how many years did he pitch?
Oh, I think it was probably a quarter of a century.
Like 25.
Yeah.
They did that back then.
Yep, they could do that. 511 wins. And next on that list, as this one is drilled down the line, and a fair ball. That one's going to go down actually goes down into the bullpen.
They called it foul at the last second.
Oh, they did. Yep.
Foul at the last second. So Petty will have to head back to second.
I was looking at the base runner because he was acting like it was fair. But so a long foul ball, just a loud foul. Greg Maddux is on that list. Pedro Martinez. And a man I think should be in the Hall of Fame, Curt Schilling. You got some political sports writers keeping him out. I don't know what his political views has to do with him going into the Hall of Fame. I think that's a shame. Keep the politics out of this game. That would be nice. And then the 2 guys that are currently still playing, I haven't heard an announcement of their retirement, Verlander and Scherzer. So there's your 6. Fergie, Maddux, Pedro Martinez, Schilling, Scherzer, Verlander. Grounded to shortstop. Can he make the play? He will literally beat the second base bag into submission, and that will retire the side. But 2 runs come across. Eric's back with the play-by-play in the 6th. It's 14-4, Seattle.
Top of the sixth inning, Seattle comes to bat leading 14-4. John Thornton leads off against brand new pitcher Craig Holmes, the manager. He's the fifth pitcher of record for North Texas, and Thornton, making his first plate appearance, takes the ball. The 1-0 pitch, breaking ball low and outside, 2-0. So Thornton making his first plate appearance, and Seattle leading 14-4 here in the top of the sixth inning. Defensive changes: Gonzalez now at third base, Villalobos the catcher for North Texas, and Smith remains at first, Olivas at second. Holmes on the mound for North Texas. The 2-0 pitch, that one swung on, lined into center field, a soft single, and Thornton aboard to lead off the top of the sixth inning. And now coming up, got to double check on these hitters hitting for the first time. And this will be Stan Friedlander, who had been the shortstop for a bit. He was actually the starting shortstop, but did not hit to begin with. So Friedlander coming to the plate with a runner at first base, nobody out. Pitch to the shortstop. This swung on and off the fist to third. Gonzalez has it to second, and it gets past Olivas at second base, and runners at first and second. So Friedlander aboard. It's going to be a tough chance anyways, but the throw off the mark for an error. Runners at first and second. And we'll take a look and see who's coming up now for the Seattle team. His first plate appearance. Runners at first and second base with nobody out. Holmes from the stretch. The pitch swung on and slugged right at the shortstop, Petty. It'll be a double play as he goes to Olivas. That ball hit very, very hard, trying to catch the number on the batter. I believe it was 45. He's at short, but the man that hit the ball. So there's two down, a runner at first base. And the batter, that was Alan Gibson. Alan Gibson hit that ball on the screws, but right at the shortstop for the double play, and there's two outs. Lefty on lefty. And now brand new batter number 22 for Seattle. And that is Todd Cochran. So Cochran, the batter, with two downs and runner at first base. Takes a breaking ball for a strike on the outside corner is Cochran. We're in the top of the sixth inning. Seattle leading 14-4 with two outs and a runner at first. Cochran takes low and outside, knocked down by Villalobos. Mentioned no scoreboard, so really relying on that home plate umpire. 2-1 on Cochran, with Thornton, the runner at first base, held on by Smith. Check that, I should say, Friedlander. That one swung on a little looper towards left field, and that is a basket catch in left field. A nice job coming up with that one in left for North Texas, and that was Mike Skaggs with a basket catch. That ends the inning. Seattle not getting any runs in the top of the sixth. They did have one base hit. We head to the bottom half of inning number 6. Seattle leading 14-4 over North Texas. Bottom of the sixth inning, North Texas comes to bat, trailing Seattle 14-4, and the leadoff hitter will face a brand new pitcher, right-hander Paul Otto, on the mound for Seattle, and it'll be David Welsh coming to the plate. He had a single back in the third inning, so Welsh comes to bat against the brand new pitcher Paul Otto. The first pitch, fastball downstairs, is slightly in the sun as the pitcher Otto. The rest is in the shadows, so that could be a little bit challenging. The 1-0 pitch, breaking ball, just about hit him high and inside. It's 2-0. Russell Few is on deck behind Welch, first base side for North Texas. Seattle got 5 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. Scoreless in the sixth. The 2-0 pitch swung and hit on the ground towards short to his left. Friedlander has it. Long throw to first on the money. Nice play by the shortstop Friedlander, and Welsh retired 6-3, 1 down. So that was smooth. 1 out as Otto gets the first batter he faces. And here's Russell Few, who started at pitcher for North Texas. Just pitched to 4 batters. I believe his ankle was injured a bit. Also played a little bit at third base in the ball game. That a ball, and it's 1-0. 1 out, bases empty for North Texas. The 1-0 pitch swung on, ripped on the ground on one hop again to Friedlander. Makes it look easy. There's 2 down. Back to the top of the order with center fielder Gary Rosebeck, who's scored a pair of runs, singled and walked. He's been on both times. 2 outs, bases empty here in the bottom of the sixth. North Texas batting, trailing 14-4. The sun, particularly on that left side of the infield and center field and left, a little bit difficult looking into that. The first pitch swung on and fouled at home plate by Gary Rosebeck. North Texas out of Fort Worth. The game right at 2.5 hours old. The Oilers are running the first, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth inning. Otto's first inning of work for Seattle. The next pitch swung on and fouled straight back. And it is 1-1 on Rosebeck. 55 and over Cactus Division. Otto, the third pitcher of record for Seattle. The 1-1 pitch, fastball high, 2-1. Temperature right around 86 degrees. Chamber of Commerce weather here in Phoenix. Scottsdale, technically. The suburb, the 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball low and outside. Didn't break, 3-1. Otto has retired the first 2 batters he has faced. The 3-1 pitch swung on and fouled back, 3-2. So Craig Holmes, the manager for North Texas, wearing number 30 in that first base dugout. Otto's payoff pitch coming to Rosebeck. And that was low and inside. In fact, it was 2-2. Now it goes to 3-2, and that just about hit him. Kiki Olivas on deck, first base side for North Texas, if Rosebeck can keep the inning alive. Otto checks the sign from Padilla, the payoff pitch. Low and inside, ball 4, and Rosebeck aboard for the third consecutive time. 2 down, Rosebeck at first. Here's Kiki Olivas, the second baseman. Double, knocked in a run in the fourth inning. Bounced back to the mound in the first. Scruggs holds Rosebeck on at first base with 2 down. Otto's pitch low and outside. 1-0 on Olivas. Rosebeck, a big lead at first, held on by Scruggs. The 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed. Appeared to be a changeup, 1-1. If Olivas can get aboard and keep the inning alive, George Eberton, the number 3 hitter, would come to the plate for North Texas. Otto's 1-1 pitch, changeup in for a strike, 1-2. The Arizona Fall League, I'm not sure that should be starting pretty soon. It was October and November. Runner at first, 2 down. The 1-2 pitch swung on, grounded to short. Friedlander up with it. Easy toss to second to Thornton. That ends the inning. Olivas retired in a fielder's choice. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 man left for the Oilers in the bottom of the 6th. And North Texas trailing at 14-4 after 6 innings complete. Handed hitting Seattle ball player. Top of the 7th inning, Seattle leading 14-4. Holmes' next pitch, breaking ball high and outside, and it's 1-1. So Seattle sitting pretty. The pitcher now, Holmes, is in the shadows, so shouldn't be distracting at all for the batter. The left-hander's 1-1 pitch, his 2nd inning of work. Breaking ball missed high and outside, and it's 2-1. Villalobos now working at second base. Few is behind the plate. The 2-1 pitch swung on and tapped foul at home plate to Lant. It's 2-2. Now, we were talking about the Bad News Bears movie. The first one came out in '76. Did they have 3? There was one at the Astrodome, and did they go to Japan too? Might have to look that up. Walter Matthew was the manager. He was the manager for the Bad News Bears, the coach. The 2-strike pitch swung on a line right at the first baseman Smith, who grabs that one. Lund hit it hard, but lines right at the first baseman Smith, who made a nice grab. 1 down. Double check on the numbers coming up. Doug Harris comes up with the bases empty and 1 out. Holmes' first pitch to Harris, a breaking ball, a little bit low and inside, and it's 1-0. Yeah, interesting watching that Bad News Bears movie. It's almost 50 years old, hard to believe. Breaking ball low and outside, 2-0. Some stuff that they wouldn't show in today's movies, I'm sure. 2-0 pitch hit high and foul down the left field side, and it's 2-1 on Harris. I think they made 3 movies of the Bad News Bears. One was at the Astrodome, though. Holmes' 1-2 pitch swung on a little flare into right field. It'll fall in for a base hit. Saffel has to play it. Double check and see if Saffel is in right field still. Guys have to turn around so we can see. It's actually David Welsh now in right for North Texas. So a batter aboard. Here's Steinbach. 1 down. Pitch to Steinbach is hit in the air towards center. And a leaping grab in center field. Rosebeck remains in center field and made a tremendous play looking into that sun. So that ball hit to center field and a nice grab. Brings up Brad Hoban, another extra hitter with a runner at first base, and 2 down. Breaking ball missed low and inside to Hoban. Smith holds runner at first. Holmes' 1-0 pitch swung and hit in the air towards left center. Going to fall in for a base hit for a single, and Hoban is aboard. Here in the top of the 7th inning. Skaggs remains in left field for North Texas. Scott Sadler, who is 1 for 4, comes up from the left side with 2 down, runners at first and second for Seattle. They lead at 14-4 here in the top of the 7th, lefty on lefty. Good breaking ball in for a strike. It's 0-1 on Sadler. Holmes' next delivery in for a strike. It is 1-1. Or should say 2 strikes. They set up way low and outside. Next pitch swung on grounded foul outside of first. Doug Harris, the runner at second base. Hoban at first. 2 hours and 38 minutes, or should say 2 hours and 42 minutes into this one. 2:47. We're on the top of the 7th inning. Seattle batting, leading 14-4. 2 down, runners at first and second for the Naranjeros. Swung on and bounced in the hole. Petty scoops it up, goes to second to Villalobos. That ends the inning. So in the top of the 7th inning, no runs for Seattle. They do it on a pair of base hits. No errors. They strand 2. We head to the bottom half of inning number 7. Seattle leading North Texas 14-4. North Texas comes to bat in the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing 14-4. Right-handed hitting third baseman George Eberton, who is 1 for 2, will face a brand new pitcher, Rob Webb, a right-hander, the 4th pitcher of record for Seattle. So Webb on in relief behind Sanders, Overcash, and Otto. Webb's first pitch, fastball in for a strike. It's 0-1. Eberton singled in the first, grounded to short in the 4th inning. See if they're able to start an 8th inning as the about 10 minutes to go towards the 3-hour mark. That downstairs, and it's 1-1 on Eberton. Webb's 1-1 pitch, swung and missed, and it's 1-2. Sun becoming a factor as the infield in the shadows. The second baseman Thornton on the edge of it, but center field short and left, particularly short and center, staring right into that sun. Webb's 1-2 pitch, low outside, 2-2. North Texas appears will drop to 0-4, and Seattle will move to 4-0 as Seattle leading 14-4 here in the bottom of the 7th. Nobody out, nobody on. The 2-2 pitch swung on, hit in the air towards left, and it's foul. Remains 2-2. $85 degrees, expected to get to about 93 tomorrow. Yeah, Salt River Field's an awfully nice ballpark. The 2-2 pitch swung and it grounded towards short. To his right, Friedlander picks it up, fires to first, makes it look easy. And he has put out, or assist 6-3. He had 2 nice fielding plays in the 6th inning. There's 1 down. This is Craig Holmes, a first baseman, who is 0 for 2 and got an RBI back in the 1st inning. Manager and pitched a little bit. North Texas out of Fort Worth, Texas. 1 out, base is empty. Rob Webb into the motion, the pitch. Strike and a fastball, and it's 0-1. Webb, the 4th pitcher of record for Seattle. The 0-1 pitch swung and missed. It's 0-2. Holmes to be followed by Vic Saffel, the right fielder. Not sure if we'll start that 8th inning. The 2-strike pitch hit him in the back, and he's aboard on an 0-2 pitch. So Webb hits Holmes. He'll be at first base. With 1 out to bring up Vic Saffel, the right fielder, is 0 for 2. Hit the ball hard twice, bounced into a 4-6-3 double play in the first, line to center in the 4th inning. So Webb facing his 3rd batter, coming in here in the 7th inning. Pitch to Saffel, a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. On deck is Frank Clark, first base side for North Texas. Holmes at first with 1 out. He takes off, and he got a good jump, and that pitch downstairs, no throw. Holmes at second with a stolen base. Could it be catcher's indifference? No. When does it get to be catcher's indifference? Next pitch low and outside for a ball. What classifies that? Holmes at second with 1 down. The next pitch popped up first base side, foul. And unable to grab that is Scruggs over at first base. There's 2 strikes. Well, you can tell me out loud, and I'll repeat it.
If you have a runner at third,
Oh.
and the runner at first takes off, and they concede defensive indifference.
Oh, all right. Yeah, they don't want the double steal.
That's, and that's in the eyes of the beholder, which is the official score.
Right. Runner at second, the 2-strike pitch. Check swing, tapper, foul, first base side. It's interesting what comes down through the years with the official score. Usually they get a guy from the newspaper, do they, a lot of times? And I know when I was doing minor league baseball, a lot of times the managers would try to get those official scores to change some rulings. This one swung and grounded towards third, picked up by Austin. Sets, fires to first off the mark. Let's make sure we check and see who is at third base with defensive changes.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I think the Seattle starting pitcher should be the winning pitcher.
Yeah.
Now, if you go by the rule book, certainly, you got to go 5. But I think in a game like this, where it's, this is a really long game, I think you should give him the win. And now the official scores have the power, I guess. Let's say you got a guy that went 4 innings in a major league game, and then a next guy comes in and pitches maybe only pitched an inning or 1 inning or a third of an inning, and then the next guy comes in and does real well for 2 or 3 innings. They can give that third pitcher the win.
Runners at first and third, one out. The runner takes off from first, goes to second. Now that would be catcher's indifference with no throw, right?
Yeah, that was defensive indifference there, no doubt.
What do you put that in the scorebook? DI?
I don't think you need to even put it down, really. It's not that important.
Runners at second and third, and that pitch high and outside, 2-0 on Frank Clark. Runners at second and third, Holmes at third, Saffold at second, one down, bottom of the seventh. North Texas batting, trailing 14-4, and Rob Webb on the mound for Seattle. The 2-0 pitch, fastball in for a strike, 2-1.
Eric, here's the real question. Since they did the defensive indifference, and how long we had it, 15 years or something like that?
I don't know.
So what would happen to Joe Morgan, Lou Brock, Ricky Henderson? What would happen to their career totals? As that one's popped out to the picture. I believe that's is that out number 2?
Out number 2 for Richard Gonzalez. So they did get a lot of steals that eventually in the modern day would have been catcher's indifference. Is that correct?
Well, you wonder how many over the course of a 154 or 162 game regular season would they have lost. And is Major League Baseball going to go back in there and check every scorecard? I think it would be impossible.
Yeah. Yep. Runners at second and third, 2 down. The 1-0 pitch to Gonzalez. Fastball in for a strike. Now, is it? Henderson is the all-time leader. What's he got?
Oh, by far. He's
over
up
1,000.
around 1,500.
Oh, and
14.
Is Brock
something.
seconds? He had 9 something, right?
Yeah, he was in the high 9s, I think. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember. Definitely over 900. But let's say you had, on average, Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock or Joe Morgan, somebody like that, Maury Wills, 4 or 5 that could be taken away. But you look over, Ricky Henderson played 20 years, so I mean, you could easily take 100. 80 to 100. And that doesn't mean a whole lot to Ricky Henderson or Lou Brock, but if you're a guy that you're in the 300 club, you might be knocked out of that if they went back and checked all the stats. But it's not that important, but it's kind of interesting. We are at the 3-hour time limit, so This should be it.
Runners at second and third for North Texas with 2 out. The 3-2 pitch coming to Gonzalez. Low and outside, ball 4, and they're loaded up for Dan Fisherbaugh.
That was a good at-bat by Gonzalez. And he really showed some patience up there. A lot of times when hitters get a couple of strikes on themselves, they're down in the count, they get a little impatient.
Pitch high and tight to Fisherbaugh, who was the second pitcher of record for North Texas. He pitched 2 innings, the first and second, after Few pitched the first 4 batters. The next pitch, low and outside. Well, that was a late strike call, I believe. 1-1 on Fisherbaugh.
Well, we got a live stream tomorrow at 4 o'clock at Tempe Diablo. Eric and I will be back here with the play-by-play. If you want to come back to this same link, our website at apmvideo.com, Msbl World Series page. And we'll have the Chicago Cyclones and the Minoka Grays up in your area, Minnesota.
Minoka. Or is it Anoka?
Minoka.
That might be,
That's Minnesota.
There's Anoka. They may have put an M on that for the Minnesota part. That low and outside. The bases are loaded. 2 outs for North Texas here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They trail at 14-4. Holmes at third. Saffold at second. Gonzalez at first. 2 down. This will be the final out of the ball game. That swung on, popped up foul straight back, and we'll have to check and see what the count is according to the home plate umpire with no scoreboard that's operating. I believe 2-1 is the count on Fisherbaugh. Next pitch swung on, tapped up third base line. This is going to be trouble. They come home, and It is Webb to the catcher Padilla, and that ends the ball game. The putout goes 1-2. So in the bottom of the 7th inning, no runs. There were no hits, no errors. Leaving the bases loaded is North Texas, and the final score, Seattle beating North Texas by a score of 14-4. So North Texas, their record drops to 0-4, and Seattle moves to 4-0. So a hitting show put on by Seattle as they got 5 in the first, 3 in the second, 4 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. So Seattle, with some good hitting here, wins this ball game again by the score of 14-4 over North Texas. I'm Eric Anderson for Jeff Lowry. Have a good evening.